How many cups of coffee do you find yourself drinking a day? 1? 2? Maybe more? Well, a recent meta-analysis of cohort studies published in Nutrition, Metabolism and Cardiovascular Diseases found that there's a specific number of cups that might have some favorable impacts on the risk of death and cardiovascular disease, especially in people with type 2 diabetes. How many cups of coffee does it seem to take? According to the analysis, which included data from 10 prospective cohort studies, with a total of 82,270 cases, researchers found that, compared with those who drank no coffee, drinking 4 cups of coffee per day was associated with a lower risk of death in patients with type 2 diabetes, with the most significant difference seen in the risk of death due to cardiovascular disease. Previously, studies have found an inverse relationship between drinking coffee and the risk of death for the general population, but this study specifically considered the way it may affect patients with type 2 diabetes. Some of the bioactive components of coffee have been linked with antioxidant and anti-inflammatory benefits, which may be a contributing factor in this research. Does that mean you should drink that many cups of coffee a day? If you're thinking that 4 cups of coffee sounds like an awful lot of caffeine, you're not wrong. Though it's not going to necessarily hurt you, given how differently people process caffeine, it might be too much. The researchers also point out that there's a need for more detailed research into factors like what exactly a cup of coffee is. Does it have cream and sugar? Is it a cold brew? Espresso or drip? There's a lot of variation that may be at play and could really matter. When it comes to the caffeine concern, strategies like microdosing can help make sure you don't end up too jittery if you are someone who's drinking that much, but it's certainly not the only way to manage the risk of cardiovascular disease. Diet, beyond just preferred caffeinated beverages, plays a huge role in heart health. Studies have linked a more Mediterranean-style diet with better heart health, especially when legumes are a primary protein source, as well as diets that are rich in vitamin K, which comes in 2 varieties, found in green leafy vegetables and egg yolk or dairy products, respectively. Even our emotions might affect our heart health, according to integrative cardiologist Kavitha Chinayan, MD. In Ayurvedic teachings, the physical heart lies in the vicinity of the heart chakra, she writes on Mind Body Green. The accumulation of guilt, shame, resentment, hatred, anger, hostility, anxiety, and similar qualities results in a closing off of the anahata, a constriction of energy flow resulting in heartache both emotionally as well as in the form of heart disease. So is chugging coffee the solution to preventing heart disease? Probably not alone, but you can feel comforted knowing that if you do have a few cups a day, it might play a small role in keeping your heart healthy. Coffee lovers, rejoice! A recent study published in the journal Clinical Gastroenterology and Hepatology found that high coffee consumption may help protect your liver from chronic disease. According to the study, drinking more than 3 cups of coffee was associated with less liver stiffness. FYI, physicians can assess the progress of chronic liver disease through a non-invasive imaging test called elastography, which measures the stiffness of the liver. Stiffness is associated with conditions such as liver inflammation, fibrosis, and more. The study collected data from 4,510 adults living in the U.S. who were a part of the 2017 to 2018 National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, a program of studies that assess the health and nutritional status of adults and children in the U.S. Participants were all over 20 years of age and 73% were overweight or obese. All study participants went through dietary analysis. Researchers looked at the relationship between consumption of 3 different beverages, coffee, decaffeinated coffee, and tea, and liver stiffness. They found that those who reported drinking 3 cups of caffeinated coffee each day had lower liver stiffness levels than those who didn't consume any coffee. There was no significant association between liver stiffness measurement and the consumption of decaf coffee or tea. Additionally, the study says that coffee consumption did not impact the onset of fatty liver disease. People with higher liver stiffness are more prone to liver cirrhosis, a type of chronic liver disease that causes the organ to lose the ability to function and heal itself. It is important to note that the researchers removed any sugar-sweetened coffee or tea from the results, as sweetened drinks actually led to greater liver stiffness. Overconsuming sugar can lead to inflammation throughout the body. For most Americans, sugar-sweetened beverages are the top source of added sugar in their diets, explains Eating Well's Associate Nutrition Editor and Registered Dietitian, Jessica Ball. This doesn't mean you can't add any sweetness to your coffee or tea if you like it, just be mindful about how much you are adding and maybe gradually try to reduce your intake. This study is the most comprehensive look at coffee's connection to liver health because it used 2 24-hour dietary recalls, where participants were asked what they ate and drank during a 24-hour period. According to the study's authors, in the absence of randomized trials, these cross-sectional, nationally representative data using direct measures of liver health and gold standard dietary inventories provide some of the strongest possible evidence for this association. The bottom line? While coffee has plenty of health benefits including boosting liver health, drinking a few cups a day isn't a magic bullet. For optimal liver health, you'll want to eat a healthy diet, and incorporate these good-for-your liver foods, cut back on drinking and get plenty of exercise. How many cups of coffee do you find yourself drinking a day?